So um, well, what we'll do is I haven't created the wooden structures that go here at the front. I'll do those in a moment, but firstly I'll just make put a bit more detail in here. So I'm just gonna extrude this roof part, so just add a little bit of detail there. So one of the things that you have to just be careful with is when you are doing these extrudes, sometimes what it does is if I go inside, it would have created a face right in the middle there. You don't want these hidden faces to be there, so just keep an eye out on that. So you just delete these faces when you come across them, otherwise when it comes to joining up, you're always going to get these weird artifacts or Z fighting or something going on. We're getting a bit of funky topology right now because everything is combined. We'll separate that, we can always tidy that up. So I'm just going to add another edge here, and the idea for this one is to just kind of slightly move it so it's not super straight. So I'm just going to get rid of that, just make this slightly uneven, and maybe I'll do something similar on this side as well. You can do this without symmetry on, so it's not all the way, it's not looking exactly the same as going to be bumpy or whatever. Just selecting bits and just moving them up slightly. You can see from that, there's a bit more detail in there. If we go back onto the actual image itself, which is here, you can see some more detail in this. We can just make these logs separately and just put them in, and this one here as well. We don't have to build it all into the topology. One of the things that you can keep in mind, I'm going to separate my roof part and make that as a separate object in a moment. And the reason for that is that later on, if I was to texture it, it's going to have a different texture, so I can always separate that. So the bit where the roof is, I can always make this actually as a separate thing itself. So if I separate everything here, you see everything disappearing, and then I'm left with this original structure that I had. So what I can do is at this point I can put a cut in here. So I'm just going to use my cut tool here, just going to roughly do this, add cut there, and then actually it's probably better just to do it from that point there till there. So I can extract this and make this as a separate thing, so this doesn't need to be part of the whole roof, doesn't need to be part of the same structure as before. So the way you can do that is if I just select all the faces that I want extracted and made separate, I can just click that and click the faces that I want separated. Maybe it would be a good idea at this stage to kind of later on separate these as well, so they're not all one structures. So if I go onto this and click on edit and mesh and hit detach, you can see that this, and then now hit separate. Now this itself is a separate structure by itself, it's not part of the structure as before. I've done that wrong there, you can see there's a face selected there, so let me go back and just do that again. Just make sure all the right faces are selected for this, otherwise you're going to have the model breaking into pieces. So I'm going to go into my mesh and hit edit mesh and hit the detach option, select it all and hit separate, and now that's a separate object itself. I would want to do the same with this bit here as well. I can always clean this up later on, but I want this face to be separately as well because it's going to be a different material later on if I was to texture it, and I can tidy it up once that's done as well. So I'm going to go and hit the extract option again, detach, and then just hit select it and separate the objects. So that's on its own as well. So now what I can do is I can further clean this topology up. So if I go back onto this and select things individually, you can see that this has that extra one. I can turn on my target weld on. I'm just gonna start target welding this as well, just to keep it a bit more main. I can give it a thickness and stuff like that if I want to, but for now I'll just keep it the way it is. So that's my roof, that's my setting. I'm just going to select this structure and have another look at it now that we've lost some of the topology, see if I can tidy it up more. When you are modeling for games or low poly games, especially for phones, you want to optimize your models as much as you can. So any topology that is not being utilized is pointless of having it there. So just get rid of it and clean it up and make it nice and tidy. So there I am, just tidying up. I need this one, on this side I don't need this one here. This window's a bit damaged for some reason, so what I'll do is I'll get rid of some altogether. There we go. So you can see it's quite basic, but if you're running this on a phone or anything like that, it'll be running quite fast. So it is quite simple from that one's, and it's been built in different structures, so you can edit them separately if you want to. So that's all the extra stuff for that. So I'm just going to put another separate material onto this.